Before the Corvette became an American icon, before the Mustang started a revolution, and before the muscle car wars turned horsepower into a national obsession, a handful of forgotten American machines were already doing something almost nobody thought possible. They were beating Europe's finest at their own game. While the world assumed American cars were nothing more than oversized cruisers built for comfort, a small group of engineers quietly created automobiles that could shock seasoned racers. They surprised luxury manufacturers and forced European sports car builders to take America seriously for the very first time. Most people have never even heard of these cars today, and that's exactly what makes their stories so incredible.
By the end of this video, you'll discover 9 forgotten American legends that proved raw speed wasn't born in the 1960s. It started much earlier. And trust me, the #1 car has one of the most unbelievable origin stories in automotive history. Let's start with a car that almost nobody expected to make this list. Number 9, Kaiser Deluxe. If you walked into a dealership in 1951 looking for the fastest car in America, the Kaiser showroom probably would have been your last stop. Kaiser was still a young company trying to compete against Detroit's powerful Big Three. And unlike Ford, General Motors, or Chrysler, it didn't have a massive V8 engine waiting under the hood. On paper, the odds were stacked against it. But sometimes intelligence beats brute force. Instead of chasing horsepower, Kaiser focused on something many manufacturers ignored: weight, aerodynamics, efficiency. The completely redesigned Kaiser Deluxe wore a sleek, modern body that looked years ahead of many bulky American sedans still filling the highways. Its lower profile wasn't just stylish, it also helped the car slip through the air more cleanly. Power came from a 226 cubic inch flathead, inline 6, producing around 115 horsepower. That doesn't sound impressive today, but when paired with the lighter 2-door body, a 3-speed manual transmission, and optional overdrive, the Kaiser delivered performance that surprised almost everyone who drove it. 0 to 60 came in roughly 14.8 seconds. Today, that number sounds slow. But in 1951, it placed the Kaiser among the quickest American production cars available. More importantly, it proved that engineering wasn't only about building bigger engines. Smart gearing and thoughtful design could sometimes accomplish what brute horsepower couldn't. The Kaiser also represented something bigger than speed. It showed that smaller manufacturers could challenge industry giants through innovation instead of simply copying them. That philosophy would inspire countless independent automakers. But here's what's fascinating. The next car wasn't built by a small challenger. It came from one of America's oldest luxury brands, and it looked like something meant for Hollywood celebrities rather than speed enthusiasts. Yet underneath all that elegance was an engine with enough muscle to surprise almost anyone at a stoplight. Number 8, Lincoln Lido. Luxury and performance didn't usually appear together during the early 1950s. Buyers generally expected one or the other. Comfort meant weight. Weight meant slower acceleration. That was simply accepted as reality. Then Lincoln introduced the Lido. At first glance, the car looked more like a custom-built boulevard cruiser than a serious performer. Its distinctive vinyl-covered roof, flowing roofline, elegant chrome trim, and beautifully finished interior gave it an upscale personality. It wasn't flashy in an aggressive way. It was sophisticated. But appearances can be deceiving. Hidden beneath that refined exterior was Lincoln's massive 337 cubic inch flathead V8, producing approximately 154 horsepower and an incredible amount of low-end torque. While Cadillac had already begun promoting its advanced overhead valve V8 technology, Lincoln relied on an older engine design that emphasized smoothness and effortless pulling power. And honestly, that's exactly what wealthy buyers wanted. The V8 delivered power so smoothly that the car almost seemed to glide forward without effort. With a manual transmission helping drivers extract performance, the Lincoln Lido reached 60 miles per hour in roughly 14.2 seconds. Again, That might not sound extraordinary by modern standards, but context changes everything. Most family cars of the era needed considerably longer to reach highway speed. The Lido managed to combine respectable acceleration with whisper-quiet luxury, making it one of America's earliest examples of what we'd now call a grand touring coupe. Even more interesting was what the Lido represented for Lincoln itself. Instead of simply building large luxury sedans, the company was experimenting with a new formula, a stylish personal luxury coupe offering genuine V8 performance wrapped inside elegant design. That same philosophy influenced legendary Lincolns. And while the Lido impressed buyers with effortless power, the next car took a completely different approach. It came from a manufacturer desperately trying to protect one of the greatest reputations in American automotive history. Competition was becoming fierce. Younger buyers were changing their tastes, and one famous company knew it couldn't survive by relying on tradition alone. Its answer became one of the most beautiful hardtops America had ever seen. And surprisingly, it was faster than most people remember. Number 7. Packard 250 Mayfair. For decades, simply owning a Packard told the world you had made it. Presidents, business leaders, celebrities, even royalty had trusted the brand. But by the early 1950s, the automotive world was changing faster than Packard expected. Cadillac was attracting younger buyers with bold styling and modern engineering, while America's idea of luxury was beginning to shift. Packard needed a statement. That statement arrived as the Packard 250 Mayfair, the company's first true pillarless hardtop coupe. With all the side windows lowered, there was no center pillar interrupting its sweeping profile. Detailed shot of the long Packard straight-8 engine block nestled inside a clean, meticulously maintained engine bay, vintage brass and steel textures. Unlike the newer overhead valve V8S grabbing headlines, Packard stayed loyal to its incredibly smooth inline-8 architecture. Was it the newest engine on the market? No, but it delivered effortless acceleration with almost no vibration, making long highway drives feel almost effortless. With a 3-speed manual transmission and optional overdrive, the Mayfair sprinted from 0 to 60 in roughly 14 seconds. It wasn't built to dominate drag strips, yet it proved elegance didn't have to come at the expense of respectable performance. More importantly, the Mayfair represented one of Packard's last great attempts to reinvent itself before the brand's long decline. It showed that tradition and innovation could exist together, even if only for a brief moment. But while Packard leaned on refinement, another manufacturer decided to shock America with something completely different. Instead of elegance, it chose boldness, and one glance at its front end guaranteed you'd never mistake it for anything else. Number 6. Studebaker Commander Starlight Coupe. Some cars age gracefully. Others become unforgettable the instant they're introduced. The Studebaker Starlight Coupe belonged firmly in the second category. When Studebaker revealed its revolutionary post-war body design, people couldn't believe an American company had built something so futuristic. The enormous wraparound rear window gave passengers an almost panoramic view, while the sleek proportions looked more European than Detroit. Then came the famous bullet nose. Some people loved it. Others joked they couldn't tell whether the car was driving forward or backward. The enormous wraparound rear window gave passengers an almost panoramic view, while the sleek proportions looked more European than Detroit. Then came the famous bullet nose. Some people loved it. Others joked they couldn't tell whether the car was driving forward or backward. It was smaller, lighter, and far more advanced than many flathead engines still powering competing cars. That lighter engine helped improve weight distribution while allowing engineers to extract more performance without dramatically increasing fuel consumption. Combined with a manual transmission, the Commander Starlight Coupe accelerated from 0 to 60 in approximately 13.7 seconds. That figure quietly placed it ahead of many larger competitors, carrying significantly more displacement. But numbers alone don't explain why this car mattered. Studebaker wasn't simply building transportation, it was proving that bold engineering and daring design could exist together. Many styling cues that seemed outrageous in 1951 would later become industry standards. And while Studebaker was experimenting with futuristic design, another company was rewriting the rules of performance itself, not through horsepower, but through physics. Number 5. Hudson Hornet Hollywood. Imagine stepping into your car. Instead of climbing up into the cabin, you actually step down. That's exactly what Hudson engineers created with one of the smartest automotive designs of the era. Their revolutionary step-down construction lowered the passenger compartment between the frame rails instead of placing it above them. It sounded simple. In reality, it completely changed how the car behaved. A lower center of gravity meant dramatically improved cornering stability. A wider interior meant greater passenger comfort. And suddenly, a full-size American sedan handled curves with confidence that surprised even experienced drivers. Then Hudson paired this remarkable chassis with an engine worthy of its engineering. The new Hornet arrived carrying a massive 308 cubic inch flathead inline-six, producing roughly 145 horsepower and an astonishing amount of torque. While competitors proudly advertised their shiny new V8 engines, Hudson quietly demonstrated that intelligent engineering could outperform flashy marketing. The glamorous Hollywood hardtop represented the most stylish version of the Hornet family. Without a center pillar interrupting its flowing roofline, it looked almost as athletic as it drove. Equipped with a manual transmission, the Hornet Hollywood reached 60 miles per hour in approximately 13 seconds. But straight-line acceleration tells only half the story. The Hornet truly came alive in corners. Its balanced chassis allowed drivers to maintain speeds that forced taller competitors to brake much earlier. That handling advantage soon became legendary. On NASCAR tracks across America, the Hornet didn't just win races, it dominated them. Its racing success became so overwhelming that rival manufacturers scrambled to understand exactly what Hudson had discovered. The answer wasn't magic, it was engineering. And while Hudson was embarrassing competitors on oval tracks, one General Motors division was preparing to make V8 performance accessible to everyday American families. Number 4. Oldsmobile Super 88. There are certain engines that permanently change automotive history. Oldsmobile's famous Rocket V8 belongs on that very short list. When Americans first heard the word rocket associated with a car, it immediately suggested speed, excitement, and modern engineering, for good reason. The 303 cubic inch overhead valve V8 produced around 135 horsepower, delivering impressive low-end torque while revving more freely than older engine designs. Unlike many heavy luxury cars of the period, the Super 88 managed to balance comfort with genuine performance. Families could drive across the country in complete comfort, then surprise almost anyone when the traffic light turned green. Published road tests recorded 0 to 60 in approximately 12.2 seconds, while the quarter mile disappeared in under 20 seconds. That made the Super 88 one of America's quickest production automobiles in 1951. Perhaps even more impressive was how effortlessly it achieved those numbers. Drivers didn't need racing experience. The smooth hydromatic automatic transmission delivered consistent acceleration while maintaining the relaxed personality buyers expected from a premium American sedan. Oldsmobile had discovered something incredibly important. Performance didn't have to be uncomfortable. Speed didn't require sacrifice. You could have both, and that philosophy would soon spread throughout Detroit. But even the legendary Rocket V8 wasn't quite enough to claim the top 3 positions on this list, because the next cars didn't simply challenge expectations. They completely redefined what Americans believed was possible. Number 3. Cadillac Series 61 Club Coupe. By the early 1950s, Cadillac wasn't just building luxury cars anymore. It was building dreams. Owning a Cadillac meant you'd arrived. But behind the chrome, leather, and prestige was an engineering breakthrough that completely changed the American automobile. That breakthrough was the 331 cubic inch overhead valve V8. Introduced just a couple of years earlier, it immediately became one of the finest engines anywhere in the world. Compared to older flathead designs, it was lighter, more compact, and dramatically more efficient. It produced approximately 160 horsepower and more than 310 pound-feet of torque, giving Cadillac effortless acceleration that matched its premium image. Most buyers paired the engine with Cadillac's silky smooth, Hydra-matic automatic transmission, but enthusiasts knew there was a better choice: the rare 3-speed manual. Installed inside the lighter Series 61 Club Coupe, that manual gearbox transformed the car into something few people expected: a genuine performance machine. Road tests estimated the manual-equipped coupe could sprint from 0 to 60 in roughly 12.2 seconds. Remarkable performance for such a luxurious automobile. What made the Series 61 especially interesting wasn't just its speed, it was balance. The shorter body reduced unnecessary weight, while the powerful V8 provided effortless acceleration from almost any speed. Drivers didn't have to constantly push the engine. It always seemed to have power waiting. And perhaps that's why Cadillac's overhead valve V8 became one of the most influential American engines ever built. Competitors weren't simply trying to match Cadillac's horsepower anymore. They were trying to catch up technologically. But one company had already taken the next giant step. And when its newest engine arrived, Detroit immediately realized the horsepower race had entered a completely new era. Number 2. Chrysler Saratoga Club Coupe. Some engines become successful, others become legendary. Chrysler's 331 FirePower HEMI V8 did something even bigger. It rewrote the rules. When engineers designed the FirePower engine, they weren't chasing headlines. They wanted efficiency, durability, and better airflow. Their solution was revolutionary: hemispherical combustion chambers. That design allowed the engine to breathe more freely than almost anything else on American roads. The result? 180 horsepower. In 1951, that number was astonishing. It even exceeded Cadillac's celebrated VI8 by roughly 20 horsepower. Initially, Chrysler installed this engineering masterpiece into its large New Yorker luxury sedan. It was powerful, smooth, and incredibly refined. But then someone inside Chrysler made a brilliant decision. What if they placed the same engine inside a lighter car? That experiment became the Saratoga Club Coupe. Weighing roughly 200 pounds less than the New Yorker, while carrying the exact same HEMI V8, the Saratoga suddenly became one of the quickest American cars money could buy. Road and Track magazine tested one during 1951. The results shocked the industry: 0 to 60 in only 9.9 seconds. For perspective, very few production cars anywhere in the world could match that kind of acceleration at the time. The quarter mile disappeared in approximately 18.7 seconds, placing the Saratoga among the elite performers. Suddenly, Chrysler wasn't just known for engineering excellence, it was known for speed. The FirePower HEMI would go on to influence generations of American performance cars, becoming one of the most respected engine families in automotive history. Most people assume this legendary Hemi-powered Chrysler had to be the fastest American car of 1951. It wasn't, because number 1 wasn't built by Ford, or Chevrolet, or Cadillac, or Chrysler. Instead, it was born from an unexpected friendship in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Number 1. Nash Healey. Sometimes history changes because two strangers happen to meet. That's exactly what happened aboard an ocean liner crossing the Atlantic. British sports car builder Donald Healey had traveled to America searching for powerful Cadillac V8 engines. to install into his next sports car. General Motors declined his request. For many people, that would have been the end of the story. Instead, it became the beginning of something extraordinary. During the voyage home, Healey met George Mason, president of Nash Kelvinator. Their conversation sparked an idea neither man had expected. Nash would supply reliable American engines. Healey would build a lightweight sports car around them. The result became the Nash Healey, a fascinating combination of American reliability and British racing expertise. Its chassis was engineered in England. Its aluminum body was hand-built by Panelcraft. Its drivetrain came from Wisconsin. It was truly an international collaboration. But the engine wasn't left untouched. Healey replaced the standard cylinder head with a high-compression aluminum version, installed a more aggressive camshaft, and added twin SU carburetors. Horsepower climbed to approximately 125. Again, that number doesn't sound enormous today. But combined with the car's lightweight construction, it created something incredibly special. Former Indianapolis 500 champion Wilbur Shaw tested the Nash Healey for Popular Science magazine. His best run? 0 to 60 in just 8.6 seconds. Think about that for a moment. This hand-built sports car was more than 1 full second quicker than Chrysler's mighty Hemi-powered Saratoga. In 1951, that was astonishing. Only 104 examples of the original model were built, making it one of the rarest and most desirable. Today, the Nash Healey isn't remembered simply because it was fast. It's remembered because it proved American engineering could compete with, and even outperform, the world's best sports cars long before the Corvette ever existed. And that's exactly why it deserves the #1 position on this list. The story of American performance didn't begin with muscle cars. It began with bold engineers willing to challenge convention, ignore expectations, and build machines nobody believed were possible. Without these forgotten pioneers, there might never have been a Corvette, a Mustang, a Hemi Cuda, or a Shelby Cobra. They laid the foundation for everything that followed.